There is going to be a show. So you kids in the chat better hurry up. Get in there. Woot woot indeed, says Kevin 11. I think we'll rant and rave. Rave? I don't know. Maybe we'll rave. You know, get our glow sticks a-going. Finally, Friday is being brought to you this week by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. If you would like to show your support and help us continue to do all the things that we do at Major Spoilers, point your browser to patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Happy Friday! Happy Friday to you. I hope you're having a good Friday. Look at all these people in the chat today. So many nice people. We've got Olin. We've got Kevin 11. We've got Major... Oh, that's me. We've got Mark. Ingrid is there. And all the fun and happy and nice people that are in the chat today. I'm sure some more people will be joining us because why wouldn't you? It's Friday. It's finally Friday, and we're here to talk about the week that was. And quite honestly, I don't know what happened this week because it was nothing but a blur. I mean, there were some interesting things that came this week. We got to see the new Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. A new trailer for that dropped. It looks pretty cool. Kind of excited about that. We got to see the new trailer for Netflix's Lock and Key, which is coming out February 7th, I believe. Looking forward to that. I'll more on Lock and Key in just a moment. What else happened this week? Neil Peart passed away today. I'll never be able to listen to another Rush album again. Actually, I'll probably listen to a lot of Rush albums. 2112, one of my faves. I'm trying to think what else. We had a bunch of stuff come out this week. Oh, we found out that we're going to finally get that New Mutants movie coming on April 3rd. Olin says, winter months are always too busy for me. Yeah, they can be, especially this time of year. Kids are back to school, classes are starting up, people are back from the holidays, and we're getting back into the business of business after the 2.5 weeks of nothing going on. A lot of comic books announced. Detective Comics number 1000, the quote-unquote biggest selling comic of 2019. Unquote. I have to put that in quotes because those are comics shipped to the direct market. So the number one comic shipped to the direct market in 2019 was Detective Comics number 1000. Also following up on that was Spawn number 300, X-Men number 1, Black Cat number 1, DC East number 1 came in at number 5. A lot of number 1s being top sellers in 2019. Matthew's favorite comic book character, Carnage. Absolute Carnage number 1. $8 book. Detective Comics a $10 book, but most of these books, well, except for Deceased, which is a $3.99 title. X-Men number 1 was $4.99. Black Cat number 1, $4.99. All the rest of the books on the top 10 list, as far as being shipped to the direct market in 2019, $5.99 and above. Marvel Comics number 1000, House of X number 1, Powers of 10 number 1, War of the Realms number 1, all from Marvel. Absolute Carnage $7.99, Spawn 300 $7.99, Detective Comics number 1000 $10.99. Well, that makes sense, right? I mean, those are big anniversary issues. Detective Comics number 1000, I want to say, is an 80-page giant. Or a 100-page giant. Wasn't 1,000 pages, I know that. That was a $10 book. Same way with Marvel Comics number 1000, a $10 book. Overall sales for 2019 are up when you bring in... So, Individual comic book sales, again, to the direct market, to the comic book shops, up 4%. Graphic novel sales down 2% in the direct market. And overall, a plus 2% gain, according to Diamond Comic Distributors today. We'll have the complete list. I think it's the top 1,000 books of 2019 coming up on Monday. So be looking forward to that. And I know a plus 2% gain, it may not seem like a lot, but, and maybe this is where I'll rant a little bit today. Hey, look, Malone Hosko is there. Hello, glad you are here. Somebody the other day, I'm not gonna throw certain websites under a bus. I mean, I'm not going to say that we are bastions of good journalism at majorspoilers.com or that we are infallible. But I was kind of put off a little bit by the hypocrisy of a website this past, I think it's been in the last 2 or 3 weeks, where they were going, hey guys, the best-selling books of the year, half of them were comic books. Yay, comic books. And I was like, oh, I'm very interested to see what what these books are that you're talking about on the New York Times bestseller list that are comic books, and how you're suddenly big fans of these comics. And I go and look, and sure enough, they're comic books that we've talked about before on Major Spoilers. We've talked about this a lot when Ashley Victoria Robinson is here. In fact, she reviewed a YA book this week on the Major Spoilers podcast. But things like Captain Underpants and what's his name? Cop Dog or Dog Cop Man, whatever that book is. My youngest kid loves both of those series. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. All these comic books that are, and this is where I get a little irate at the way that the comic journalism world is portraying this, is that, oh, the world is falling, no one is buying our capes and tights anymore. But what they're not focusing on is, I would assume, so here's the Malone is like, wow, individuals up, trades are down. That's the thing. That's to the direct market. Those are to your local comic book stops. That's who Diamond deals with. What is not being covered in any of this is the Publisher's Weekly stuff. So that when you've got Dog Cop Man and Captain Underpants and Diary of a Wimpy Kid and whatever else books that are up there, those are the ones that are selling millions and millions and millions of copies. Those are the ones that people should be paying attention to. But no, we as an industry have to sit there in our little closed-off world going, oh my gosh, we don't want to upset the brick and mortars. We don't want to upset the brick and mortars, because if the brick and mortars go away, there go our entire industry. And yet Real World is doing fine with his Halo series. And I bet you walk into any comic book store in the country, brick and mortar store, and you ask for Dog Cop. What is the name of that stuff? Is it Dog Cop Man? I better look it up. What is his name? Dog Cop? No, that's something else. Man, Dog, Cop, Comic. Yeah, Dog Man. That's the title of it. Dog Man. By Dave Pilkey. Pilkey, Pilkey. When that's the number one selling book of 2019, if you go into a comic book shop and you say, hey, do you have the latest Dogman volume? They're going to look at you like you're some kind of horrid creature that crawled out from underneath a rock. They don't carry that kind of stuff. Maybe you should. Maybe you should, LCS. Maybe you should be carrying some Dogman. Maybe you should be carrying some Captain Underpants. Maybe you should be carrying Halo. Then maybe you would find, oh, surprise, surprise, you actually have people coming into your store. Unless, of course, the people you want coming into your store are not kids. And the people that you want coming into your stores are not women. And the people coming into your stores are not girls. Instead, you're just looking for the same clientele who are aging out and getting tired of comic books when they're costing $10 for an issue. So when we look at this stuff from 2019, and you look at, oh, Detective Comics, the number one selling, go and look at Dogman. Let's find out what the actual numbers are. Oops. Control A. I'm on a PC. Dogman best-selling book 2019. Let's see. I don't see it. Let's see if I can come up with anything that has the exact sales numbers. Oh, okay. Here we go. Scholastic, not the other. Scholastic announces 5 million copy. First printing for Dogman, Brawl of the Wild, is an international bestseller. This was in 2018. This is in December 24th of 2018. So, just a little over a year ago. Dogman, 5 million copies. How many copies? Well, I guess I could look in my email, but that would probably be breaking some embargo or something that I'm not supposed to share. I'm going to guarantee that there's not 5 million copies of Detective Comics #1 that sold in 2019. So I'm a little irate at the website that was like touting how great comic sales were, and they were covering, granted, I would cover this too because it's important. But a site that is usually down on the quote unquote industry is saying how great things are that Dogman is #1. And I don't think I've ever covered anything about Dogman or Captain Underpants or anything like that on their site before. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy that kind of got in my gut this last couple of weeks that had me mad. And when we look at 2019 and we look at Spawn and X-Men and Black Cat and all these #1 issues and #1000 issues that are hitting, they pale in comparison. Detective Comics #1000, if it sold anything, maybe 2 million copies to the direct market. Now that's not individual copies sold. Scholastic can look and say, yeah, we sold 5 million copies. Yes, also no manga at all. So we only know what Viz Media does because Viz Media ships through Diamond. We don't know what Viz Media does at Barnes & Noble or the B. Daltons or the, what's the other one? The B. Dalton, what was the other one that went out of business way back in the 90s that I'm always talking about? I just cleared out my list of subscriptions earlier today. Oh no, Wayward Boy, are you done with comic books? Malone says the last time I bought any new individuals is from 2012. Everything else is trades, hardcovers, or used old issues. I can't blame you on that. A sneeze. I still enjoy reading comics. Don't get me wrong. I do still enjoy reading comic books quite a bit. And there are some really good ones out there. But you know what's amazing about this top 10 list is that every single one of these books on the top 10 list from Diamond is a Capes and Tights book. I got about a half dozen on my pull list, says Kevin. The other stuff I read is mostly trades. Wayward Boy says, oh no, there is enough remaining. Here's what the top graphic novels and trade paperbacks of 2019 were. Watchmen came in at #1, no surprise since the HBO series launched. Saga Volume 1, Umbrella Academy Volume 1, which again ties back into the Netflix series. Monstrous Volume 1 from Image Comics, Mr. Miracle over at DC. Die, the fantasy, I don't want to say horror, but the fantasy book from Image Comics. Batman White Knight, The Walking Dead, Batman The Killing Joke, and Batman Damned, the hardcover. Now, The Killing Joke, doobie-doobie-doobie-doobie-doo, maybe because of the Joker movie, might have been the reason why that one was up there really high. I've read more comics in the last couple of years than ever before, says Malone, just not new individual issues. I usually buy all of my new issues, individual issues, from Comixology, although with the comic book store that I still kind of do business with in Salina, I still get... What do I get? I get Flash and Nightwing are the two that I still get physical copies of, but they get read very quickly and then they go right into the long boxes. And to be honest, the almost near destruction and potential loss of all the comic books back in August, September really had me reevaluate, just how much time, energy, effort is being put into that comic book collection, where I can just pick up my iPad. I can pick up my iPad and I've got Oh, there's an Atomic Robo sticker on the back. I've got an entire comic book collection right here in my hands for less than, what, £2? It's just the hard drive space, and I can swap those comics out anytime that I want. Now, granted, I have to buy those comics again, but... yeah, The Killing Joke came in at number 9, but I think that one's on that list quite a bit anyway. It continues to be a fairly solid seller over the years. I want to say like 2 years ago, they released that animated version of The Killing Joke. So that could also play into some of the success of that. But I really think that the Joker movie brought the White Knight series up in popularity, as well as The Killing Joke. And maybe even Damned may have been a reason tied into... I mean, they're not tied directly to the Joker movie, but indirect sales for that. So, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at in my head when it comes to the comic industry right now. What else happened this week? Oh, going back to Netflix Lock and Key, somebody yesterday posted on YouTube... I can't share it anymore because it's already been taken down. Somebody posted the pilot episode of Lock and Key in its entirety up on YouTube yesterday. The one from 2011, not the Netflix series, but the one from 2011, the one that Fox, in their infinite wisdom, decided to cancel. And so then it went over, languished for a few years before Hulu took a look at it and tried to do a pilot on it and then shuttered that. And then finally it landed over at Netflix, and I watched it. And it was not horrible. It was actually really good. It was a very faithful adaptation of Welcome to Lovecraft, the first volume of Lock and Key. I thought it was really good. They crammed that all into an hour. Now, why might Fox have passed on it? Well, there's probably some expense. There's a lot of effects work that has to go on with that. But a couple of the actors I was not overly impressed with. And so maybe that's what Fox execs were thinking about as well, that they're going to have to find new actors to replace some of them, which would mean reshooting the pilot, which means even more money, and that may have been too much of a headache for them. But I really liked it, and if you ever do get a chance to see it, the only way you're going to see it is illegally. You might want to check it out, because it was good. And of course, within 2 hours of it going up, it was already taken down by Disney, 20th Century Fox, which makes sense. I mean, there's no reason for this to be out except to hype the excitement of the upcoming Netflix series and to get those people online to go, okay, which was better, the 20th Century Fox version or the Netflix version? Here's where Netflix went wrong, or here's where Fox went wrong. But it's something in the past. It's a pilot episode, so it's not going to be great. A lot of the effects are gone. There was no music in this thing. And if you've ever seen the pilot episode, the true pilot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you know that that's not very good either. But for someone that has been waiting for this Lock and Key series to come for the last 10 years, and who was secretly hoping that one day a disc would show up from some unknown person at a certain publishing house with the pilot episode on it, that was kind of a joy for me, that little holy grail of finding that thing that very few people were ever going to see. If you haven't, RendellLockIsDead.com, if you go to that, I don't know if it's still up or not, they had the opening sequence from the Netflix series that people can go check out. And it's quite a bit different from the book. So it'll be interesting to see how everything winds up, and I'm sure somebody leaked this original Fox pilot on YouTube out of spite. And if you got to see it, then I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, well, that's okay too. You're not missing out on anything. So that was kind of my week. How has your week been? The kids finally went back to school here, so that was a blessing. But then, of course, they've all been staying up until 10, 11 o'clock at night during the holiday break. So getting them up at 6 in the morning has not been a joy. But I think they're finally in the routine enough now that the weekend is here, and I'm sure they'll stay up late again and cause all sorts of mischief. I spent my holiday as an editing fool. I edit a bunch of podcasts that are going to be exclusive shows over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/majorspoilers. First episode drops on January 15th. So if you want to hear some exclusive RPG shows, limited, they're limited run, then you probably should sign up over at patreon.com/majorspoilers. Kevin11 dropping the link in there for you. And right now I have 7, let's see. I have 6 of one show done and 3 or 4 of another show done. And so I'm about halfway done with both of those, in addition to our regular editing schedule. But I'm trying to work ahead in 2020. That's going to be my goal, is how far can I work ahead? Now it looks like these guys are debating the merits of comic books on digital or physical format. Malone says he genuinely enjoys something I can feel in my hand. It makes me appreciate it more. I can see that. For those of you who were around, was it last Friday? Yeah, when you were around last Friday and I was talking about how karma is going to get you, then you know that idea that money is, in digital assets, a 99-cent purchase or a $1.99 purchase seems like nothing because there's nothing tangible to it. But holding something in your hand makes it more real, I suppose. And I can understand that. Also, once you sign up a Patreon, says Kevin11, make sure you tie your Patreon account to your Discord account so that you can access the secret channels on our Discord server. And there's a link to the Discord right there for you to come over and hang out with us. Even if you don't have a Patreon, you can still come out and hang out. But one nice thing about tying your Patreon to the Discord channel is that you get to listen to Matthew and I record Dueling Review live on Thursday nights, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. There's a patron-only chat channel that we open up, and you can listen to us record the show live and chat with us. I think last night, who was there last night? I think Kevin was there. I don't know if Malone was there. But, yeah, Kevin was hanging out. Mark was hanging out. Olin was hanging out. And I think you guys enjoy that, right? You guys enjoy the pre- and post-show talk. Last night was like technical support time. I would make a horrible technical support person. But at the same time, I also know where to find answers. In all my years of teaching and writing, I've become very good at trying to figure out answers or finding out where people can find the answers. Oh yeah, it's always 4 a.m. somewhere. So that's another perk if you want to. Otherwise, you can just listen to Dueling Review when it comes out a few hours later. Or the next day, depending on where you're at. Hello, future people. I think we're going to have some more exclusive content, like the GM Roundtable, which we are recording our second episode. Let me look here at the calendar really quick. The second episode of the GM Roundtable will be taking place January 29th at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This month we are talking about NPCs and PCs, how to build them, what to watch out for, things to be careful of. I think one of the things we were going to talk about is romance between NPCs and PCs. So you want to tune in for that. And then, of course, a week after the live recording, it'll go live up on the Patreon page. And then, of course, next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, we have our VIP live chat where you get to come and ask us questions about anything that's going on behind the scenes at Major Spoilers. We did our year-end wrap-up last month where I talked about where we were sitting. The month before, we talked about financials. January 2020, I'll give you some updates as far as what we have planned for the rest of the year. Maybe hype some of those exclusive programs a little bit more. Most of the people who are Gold VIP members already know about that. But I would agree, Mark Smith, 2020 is a great year to be a patron. Kevin11 also says the GM Roundtable was so good. Yes, and you do get to ask your own questions when you join live. I'll also probably next week set up a thing on Patreon for people to type in questions if they can't be there live. And then we'll get that organized. So that was a lot of fun. And then finally tomorrow, providing I get, we got storms coming through right now, winter storm stuff. Providing that my wife doesn't have a long list of things for me to do, I will be gaming again tomorrow. I don't know what game I'm going to play during the live stream tomorrow. Last week it was pinball, which was a lot of fun, and I got a few new followers off of that pinball thing. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Hopefully you did as well. That will happen 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time, right here on the Twitch channel. And yeah, that's where we're sitting. Those are some of the things you guys can look forward to over the next couple of weeks right here at Major Spoilers. Gaming live is always a good time. I want to come back and do another thing with Brad and I where we do a live stream, kind of like a live stream Munchkin Land. But I still want to do some technical things with that. I'm trying to work, if there is anybody out there who really understands setting up a, what is it, an RTMP server on a Raspberry Pi, please let me know, because I've got something that I want to work with to where I can have like a master control center, and then I can have all these satellite people like Rodrigo with his OBS setup and stream it right to our server, and then we can just switch over live and send that out on the Major Spoilers stream, and we can switch between, you know, different sources that way, different locations that way, even do some multi-gaming, team gaming going on simultaneously. I know Twitch has team gaming. This is a little bit different than that. Because then that way we might in 2020 be able to do something for an entire 24 hours. How might that be? But I've got to get that server set up. We'll talk more about that in the VIP live chat next week. The programming is actually fairly easy. I've found some sources on how to do it. I just don't know enough myself in the programming language to set it all up. I mean, there's places where it's like, here are the steps you need to follow. You just need to know this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, I don't really know the Linux coding to make that happen. How is Munchkin Land coming along? Well, it's there, right? I mean, I've still got a couple of shows to edit, and we need to start shooting some more shows again. We'll talk more about that on the VIP live chat coming up next Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. Yeah. And ideally, I'd like to do it because I've read all the sources that I've read, so you can definitely set this server up on a Raspberry Pi, and it's just an RTMP kind of. It's kind of like what's that silly? It's like Restream.io, except everything is coming to your Raspberry Pi, and then you can grab it. You can pull from it in OBS, because OBS lets you grab, you know, a source, bring it as a source, and then put it out and restream it out to the necessary channels and sites. So those are just some things I've given a little bit, maybe too much away. So we will see. But that gives you a little peek at what's to come. And I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. I think we will wrap it up right there this week on Finally Friday. I don't know, all of a sudden my nose has started to plug up. Yeah, I want something that has very little latency. So no VPNs, no NDIs, none of that stuff. Although doing an NDI input source is how I would do things locally, because we have done the NDI sources locally inside the house. That's how I gave you guys the tour of the Nerd Room of Doom a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago. And I still need to do a show from in there. Maybe that's what I will try to plan that for next Friday. But essentially, I want to be able to use this setup that I have right here as the master control, the network operations, and then be able to pull in stuff from all of our satellite stations, so to speak, from TV speak terms, and be able to send that out without having to give people access codes and that kind of stuff. because once access codes and passwords start going out, then you open yourself up to all sorts of problems. But I think that's where we're going to wrap up Finally Friday this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you've got a topic for Finally Friday, just drop me an email, podcast@majorspoilers.com, or you can follow us on any of the things up there. Twitter, the majorspoilers.com website, wherever else that you can reach me at. Usually I'm pretty easy to access. So if you got some topics you want me to cover in future Finally Fridays in 2020, just drop them. Let me know, and we'll talk about them in the future. But for right now, I'm going to go see if I need to go get a kid from school in the middle of the winter, or if I have some delightful food waiting for me upstairs. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will talk again real soon.